On this episode of Curve Ahead, I am joined by Jesse Daniels, the Vice President of Engineering of SportsDigita, where he's been transforming their technology for over 9 years. In this episode, Jesse shares how empathy plays a critical role in bridging the gap between technical teams and clients. He explains his approach to understanding the real problem behind client requests rather than implementing their suggested solution. We also dive into SportsDigita's DigiDAC platform, an innovative presentation system that helps sales teams create dynamic, customized, on-brand presentations that can integrate with data from various sources. Jesse reveals how they're leveraging analytics to track viewer engagement and even enable real-time interaction through the DigiX Live feature. By listening to our conversation, you'll gain valuable insights into building scalable, customizable platforms that can evolve with changing market needs. Plus, learn how maintaining long-term professional relationships can accelerate problem solving and innovation. Let's dive in. Today, I'm joined by Jesse, the VP of SportsDigita. I am going to mess that up throughout this call. I apologize. Jesse, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jesse Daniels. I'm the Vice President of Engineering for SportsDigita. I've been there for about over 9 years now.
So what led you to the team?
So what led me is the president of the company is someone I've worked with quite a bit in my career, my 20 years. His name's Corey Factor, and I've had a wonderful working relationship for I think 18 years now. He got brought on board to help out with the technical side of the business, which we can discuss a little bit further. I pretty much got brought in to flip the technology. It was a lamp system, and it was struggling mightily. So we needed to come in and basically flip it to make it more of a distributed system. Not only could it handle a load with when it needed to, but we could keep extending the system and keep adding features to it.
Very cool. What's it like to have such a long-lasting relationship with someone and kind of work with them at multiple organizations? I've met a few people who have had those relationships. It's just not something I've had in my professional experience. So I'm curious, like what's that like?
Well, it's wonderful in the sense that we know where the other one's thinking or where everyone's going. So a lot of times, I can bring stuff up, kind of knowing that he'd get the idea and run with it. I've worked in many other organizations, kind of in between, and he's just been one of the most phenomenal marketers, product manager types of work. He can sniff out what the industry needs, where we need to go, and he can come with me with what the problem is, and got a great working relationship where I can fully understand the system, and I can tell him, okay, for that problem, we can go in this direction or in this other direction, that sort of thing. So it makes it just so much quicker and easier to just problem solve and create new features for the marketplace that are actually needed.
What's the most important thing when someone in product is talking to someone who's very technical to keep in mind as part of that conversation to make sure that both of you are saying the same things?
I think that I found it's got to be on our side, the technical side, to be patient, to very much empathize. I very much, very much preach the idea of empathy with regards to technology, that we need to empathize not only with clients, but with working relationships to be able to take that technical thing that there's no way they're going to understand and put it in words that they can understand. And I have to say, elements of AI and ChatGPT has been really helpful in that scenario too, being able to hey, here's this very technical thing, what's the best way to convey this information?
So let me pull on that a little bit further. Not necessarily the using AI part, but the empathy with technology piece. I think that is in itself such an interesting topic that I would like for us to pull on just a little bit further. What, in a nutshell, does that kind of mean for you being on the technical side?
Empathy for our clients?
Well, yeah, I mean, empathy for the clients, but also trying to make sure that you are having a conversation in the middle ground versus does that make sense? Because
Yeah,
I think there's a
like,
lot of questions or a lot of conversations that happen with people who are very technical and people who are moderately technical, and
Mhm,
a lot of
mhm.
times there's not an easy middle ground.
No, there isn't. What helps bridge that, and that I really try to instill, like in my team in particular, but everyone, is understanding the difference between like a problem and a solution. So many people, I find a lot of people can't make the distinction, ironically. So most people come to us with solutions, and um, I try to at least I usually ask a lot of questions. I always have to tell them, like, please be patient with me. Like, I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be evil here. I'm not trying to diss your idea. I'm just trying to understand why it is you're asking for this feature. So once you can kind of get to, and then once you can get down to like the why, like why they're asking for it, what that actual problem is. I learned this like I think quite a while ago with regards to talking with support. Like, I always come with issues and the solutions. And it's like, after you understand the why with your technical understanding, like, well, why don't we just do this other thing? And they'd be like, oh, you could do that? I'm like, yeah, totally. So um, it's that mentality of really kind of getting to the crux of what that solution, what that ask is for. And that makes it, once you understand that, it makes it a lot easier to communicate with them with regards to what's going on, what's needed, how to talk to the client.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think so. Historically in my career, I've sat on the other side. I've sat on the PM side where I've had to execute either the client request or and work with the tech teams to ensure that we were doing whatever it was. Like, and you're right. I think a lot of times people come with problems versus solutions. So you have to take time to understand, okay, where's the root cause of the problem? And it really, like, it comes from asking very simple questions. Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about like where it is you're experiencing XYZ? What happens? And just like pulling at the thread very, very slowly. And then eventually just kind of clicks. You're like, "Ah, it's right there. Okay, got it. I understand where you are, like what's happening, why it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how we can fix this. Whether that's a feature, whether that is a bug fix, whether that is just, hey, there's a problem in the workflow, right? Like having these realizations. And because when it comes to software development, like you can only go so far. You can test like the scenarios that are known scenarios and kind of some of the grayer scenarios, but like those unknown scenarios that clients come to you with, you're like, I never would have thought to do it that way. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we need to figure out how we can get from A to B to C and then to
Mm-hmm.
X. um yeah.
And in a way, that's product, right, versus custom
Right,
solutions.
right, 100%. Because it's and it can be a custom solution, but obviously, if you do it that way, it's not going to be scalable for everybody, and you're bound to
It
find another
depends.
customer who's going to come through your door who uses that same use case because that other client recommended it.
Yeah. I was gonna say that it all depends. I learned a lot time ago architecting, more of these enterprise level complex solutions, that you need to have some sort of mechanism to be able to have highly customized, highly specialized solutions within it. So with our platform at SportsDigita, which is what I'm designing and architecting a whole team around, our product, really, it is a platform that we do have several mechanisms in there to be able to introduce very highly custom solutions into it, but as like a layer, right? It's not all one thing. We have many different layers, and at some layers you can fit very highly custom solutions in it. Instead of thinking of it as just one big thing, it's many different things that can be Lego pieces. That's like my mentor would tell me. I always think about these things as Lego pieces that you can build these layers upon, and custom. You're just gonna have to have a place for highly customized solutions in there. But to be able to build this platform in a generic way, I've been very much on the idea of generics lately, but to be able to build something that can be used in many unforeseeable ways and many different layers is so important. That's what we really, really strive for in our platform.
So you had mentioned SportsDigita. let's
Mhm.
take a step back. Can you just give like a high level overview of what the platform is?
Yeah, so our platform's DigiDAC. That's the name of it. And high level, like what we're striving to do, it is a presentation platform, but we like to say, at least in our team, it's a presentation platform that can scale. So we deal with a lot of very highly customized integrations. And the idea is, hey, you give us your data. The majority of the systems we integrate is like CMS systems, like Salesforce. So it's like, give us your data. We have a whole rules engine model within the platform that we can take that data. And from that data and all the designs for a particular deck, we can take certain slides, we can stick stuff in it, and then we can make a customized presentation, maybe specific for that opportunity, right? Whatever that data represents. That's the majority. That's a lot of our use cases with our integrations with the other systems. Is give us your data, we'll use it to create a very personalized presentation. You give it back to them, and they give it to their client, their opportunities, their users, that sort of thing.
And you had mentioned generics, right? And so kind of what I read is that you guys work with a lot of sports organizations, a lot of like actual leagues too. Is that correct?
So that's our history.
Okay.
So SportsDigita was, they kind of get the history. So it was founded by Angela Lawton. She's our CEO and founder, and she's still running it today and doing a wonderful job. But she has a whole history of being in the sports industry, and she got the idea for SportsDigita when she was, I believe, working for the Bay Lightning. And originally, the company was created. She hired a lot of designers to help. She saw a need for salespeople and especially in sports organizations to be able to create presentations and stay on brand. The salespeople, they're not designers. They shouldn't be designing PowerPoints, right? So she started a company to help with that. Eventually, along the lines, the sports team, I think the Minnesota Twins was the first one. Like we need something to dynamically kind of be personalized, and that was the seed for the DigiDAC, so that platform started with the intent of highly personalizing presentations dynamically. And that's where we've got to today. So that's where we came from as a sports industry. It's kind of our bread and butter. Like we know what their needs are. We do have a lot of like components, tools within the platform that really, really help out with their needs. But we have been for the last number of years branching out in the other industries because just the way we work, DigiX platform, the way we've been building it for the last many years, again, making it a more generic tool that can be used across different industries. That's where we're kind of aiming, but we're still also, trying to keep in that sports industry and make sure that we're staying ahead of the game there.
It's interesting. So it's cool that you guys had started from a need in sports, which explains a lot of like the customizations that are needed, like that layer to be able to insert, like, because sports branding is super highly protected because of the owners, the rights, like everything is trademarked, all the colors, like all the logos, all the minutia from a marketing perspective really, really matters. So being able to have that layer to just be like, okay, here you go, it's in there, like no questions asked. We've done this 75 other times with different brands, like it's just good to go. But also from being able to pull in the data perspective, I think that makes sense to be able to formulate great presentations, because like now I know that there's a big trend when it comes to like AI and being able to create this engine that the AI can now reference on your company's behalf to be like, okay, hey, here is all this data on us. Make sure that what you're presenting back is referencing this and customizing it back to us. So that also makes sense to be able to provide that also. It's interesting how it went from being very niche to now expanding. And how is that, like, from your perspective, from the technical side, how has that expansion impacted the work that you're doing?
I have to say we were very lucky that when we started this whole direction with regards to custom integrations and designing out what that process would be, that's a process that's very dynamic. And luckily, we were able to create a very dynamic integration point It's like just give us your data. And sometimes like clients kind of have a hard time with that. They're like, well, how should I structure it? It's like, just give it to us. We'll take it and run with it. So what we have today is it has been set up in a very generic way so that we can adapt very quickly and very easily to any of these types of custom integrations. It's the then, okay, once we can get the data in there, we got the rules engine, like we keep adding more stuff to the rules engine, all these different capabilities. And that's been like what we've been very highly focused on. So there's kind of different parts of the platform. There's this part where we can dynamically generate things. There's another tier of it, since it's our own platform, it's our own proprietary framework, we can keep all the analytics on it. Where are they viewing, how long, that sort of thing. That's very important, very valuable to our clients too. But then there's the other part, which is the design part. And that's been a very big focus that we've been working on the last few years, which is getting it to a point where it's truly a design tool, where we're getting it to a point where it's like we're getting into designers' hands that aren't designers in our organization, and they're able to take and create very beautiful DigiDAC presentations, but in a way that it can be used so that it can be dynamically generating presentations based off of data that's coming into the system.
So what I'm hearing is that like the platform itself kind of has three layers to it, or pillars. So you have your data layer or pillar, you have your analytics layer or pillar, but those two have to talk to each other. And then you have the design layer that now you have expanded to allow for like external designers to play in the sandbox, if you will, to be able to create presentations.
Yes, okay. It's become a very big platform.
How does that complicate your day-to-day?
It complicates things since it's so big. Which direction we focus on? That's where it goes. Luckily now we do have like a small team of guys just working on like the design part of it. But yeah, the complications part is like, okay, now we gotta get back to these other parts and see what we can add there. Yeah, that's probably the main complicated part of it right now.
So what do you see your biggest challenge in the organization over the next year, and like what steps are you taking to overcome that?
The challenge, like business wise, or
it could be business, it could be technical.
Yeah, integrations is always, I think, is probably going to be the next big hurdle that we're going to be focused on. I remember going to a summit on AI online, and the whole first half of it, the guy was really talking about like integrations and how important integrations are. So more integrations, is going to be kind of the big problem that we're going to be trying to tackle here in the not too distant future. The other, of course, is going to be AI as well, since you got to bring up the elephant in the room, right? Which is AI and using AI in an efficient way to be able to highly customize presentations, but yet keeping them on brand. That's going to be a big trick for us.
Yeah, I think everybody that I've talked to over the last year has seen the disruption with AI. AI has been a huge disruptor, regardless of what industry or what your focus has been. I think a lot of the models are getting better and better. I was reading something that right now the best model still has like a 4 to 6% hallucination rate. So like trying to reduce that as much as possible by feeding it your marketing material, your material about your organization prior to eliciting a response back from AI is, I think, going to be the biggest differentiator in the next year or so.
Yeah, and for us too, like since we're a proprietary presentation technology, is getting it to understand our platform as well, how we build things, and being able to do that efficiently without disrupting the brand side of things in the presentation.
I would also think that the data component as well. I think that there's been a lot of people who are hung up about having their data help train AI platforms that are typically commercially available. I know that there's other ones out there. I was having a conversation last week with a woman who basically that's all that they do is sensitive data into a platform that they control completely. So it's really interesting how people are going about solving similar issues.
Yeah. So that's definitely going to be something that we already have been looking into. Definitely nothing that we're going to be getting out soon. But we've also we've actually been playing around quite a bit with regards to using AI for insights because we have all that data with regards to how people are viewing things, how long they view it, that sort of thing. And it's like, what can we do with insights to really glean more information from that? And we've gotten it pretty good with regards to being able to get some pretty interesting insights. That would be pretty difficult to do just, human wise. The AI is getting better. Because we were trying to get it to do a lot of the math itself, it just couldn't. Especially, we're talking about like a few months ago. It just couldn't do math very well. It's getting better. I assume it's going to be there probably pretty soon, right? So we'll be able to do more with regards to our impression insights. But yeah, but in particularly creating presentations, that's going to be the big challenge that we'd like to overcome.
What's the most interesting insight that you were like, well, that's kind of a head scratcher that you've seen so far?
With the
Knowing that
data?
like the actual data was right, and just like, what is the story it's telling now?
Boy, it's kind of hard to get into that without giving much away. It's been a little while. Yeah, I don't think there's much I can get into there without giving it. So
It's okay.
sorry, man.
It's all good because like I always like to know how everybody uses it differently, right? Like there are best practices, and over time certain platforms learn enough about you to be able to continue to produce high quality information for you. And some do a better job than others, I would say, from like a commercial standpoint. But I'm always curious, like from an analytics perspective, what people are seeing out there. But yeah, I would understand like that it's sensitive data. You don't want to disclose too much.
It's sensitive. I guess like I say, there's some interesting stuff that we've been playing around with. That AI has been helping us to really glean as like how people are presenting. Because one of the things that we would probably that we believe clients would want to know, especially from like a sales manager perspective, is like how well are the salespeople going through the presentation? Are they jumping around? Are they pretty much sticking with the script, right? That sort of thing. And with the data we do have, it's actually been fairly good at showing that. So that's something we're hoping to be able to take and run with. But that's probably one of the interesting things that we've been seeing with regards to impression tracking and insights.
That would be really interesting to see, because I think that there's a lot of sales decks out there that are just like, there's one or two slides on there that just seem irrelevant, or it's just too data heavy to be able to get into a 30 or 45 or an hour long presentation. A lot of it's takeaway. It should be an appendix. Like, it would be interesting to see the insights that you would get, like, once the client has it in their hands, or potential client has it in their hands, how they're viewing it. Like, are they spending time looking at any of that stuff? Did they even open it?
Yes.
I mean, it's like, I think that would be the interesting piece.
A lot of that we have, and
that's awesome.
And that's what brings a lot of people in. Is, hey, I just want to like have all the analytics right in the platform right now. That what's my top slides, right? Who's viewing? What's my bottom slides? Who's not viewing anything? So they actually have that today, and you go in each presentation and see each session for it and see which slides that they've viewed. And you can get notified within the platform when somebody's actually opened up a presentation and who's currently viewing it. And actually during COVID, we created this other feature in it where we took we were able to do like conferencing right within the platform, right within the presentation, so that we call it DigiX Live. So we were able to send, and that was a lot of fun for us engineers to put together. As soon as somebody opens up a presentation, the salesperson get alerted. They can immediately hop into the presentation themselves as well, and they can start chatting with them back and forth through like a little chat box that can pop up. And then with one button, it's like, hey, you just want to talk, and then just click a button. And we're using all the built-in browser APIs for doing video conferencing. So you just open up video conference just right there without having to install Zoom or install Teams, which is just all through the browser, so they can just immediately talk to it. And I feel like it's a little ahead of the time. It's another one of those things that's been a little difficult to kind of market out there. And there's like I think a lot of people worry about it security-wise, being able to just talk to somebody through a presentation. But it's an advanced thing that we came up with that some some of our clients have taken room with it. It's been really cool seeing what they do with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that sounds really cool.
Hmm.
And it sounds ahead of its time, right? Because there aren't very many people, especially like COVID, where business was so disrupted by not being able to have a lot of these sales meetings that were face to face. I mean, even like the touch and feel of business changed during COVID, not necessarily in a good way, not necessarily in a bad way. It just did. Everything went digital. Having a product that would allowed like kind of a digital leave behind that allowed someone to view it in their own time, but also allowed the salespeople on their side, hey, this is happening right now. If you want to like step in and be like, look like the hero, I think that has so many really cool use cases that
Yeah.
you haven't even really started to explore yet.
Yeah, it's that shortening the time between when they're engaged and getting engaged with them with regards to the actual thing that they're engaged with, right?
Right.
It's like the shorter you can bring that together, the more likely that sale is. So that's why
100%.
we've really pushed that, and we're seeing some good results with it.
Very cool. Well,
Hmm.
Jesse, I thank you for your time today. It's been a super
Sure,
enlightening conversation. So, at the
sure.
end of each one of my episodes, I give all of my guests 90 seconds to plug anything that they're passionate about. So, for you, it could be SportsDigita, it could be anything. So, without further ado, the next
Yeah.
90 seconds are yours.
Yeah, so SportsDigita, like I say, I've been very blessed to be able to lead platform design and architecture, and I gotta be thankful with Angelina and Corey for letting me do this. And the DigiX platform has turned into something that I'm very proud of, and all my engineers and UI UX guys and DevOps team have done a phenomenal job. If anybody's looking for a scalable sales enablement platform for handing out presentations, like customized presentations, like hopefully they reach out to us. On personal note, I do a lot of writing on the side, so I have a blog. I mainly write about complex systems. The last one was about generics, so take a lot of that and apply it to my everyday life. Anybody who's interested in wanting to learn or discuss more about complex systems, reach out. My blog is longoff.com. But thank you so much, Brian.
Thanks again, Jesse. Appreciate your time
Yeah.
today.